Hey guys, welcome to the ranking. For the past 3 weeks we have been playing the Batman Arkham series and ranking every boss from worst to best. And today we've arrived at the most controversial entry in the series, Batman Arkham Knight. Now if you ask me, Batman Arkham Knight definitely isn't the worst game in the series, although if we're talking about bosses, it definitely fucking is. But you know what, let's not get ahead of ourselves. In the boss fight, we don't waste your time, and these are the Batman Arkham Knight bosses ranked from worst to best. Okay, so in no planet does Deathstroke deserve to be this low on any fucking Batman boss list. Like, dude, this is fucking Deathstroke. Why are we fighting him in a tank, dude? Like, what the fuck was Rocksteady thinking? I think the funniest part about this boss is at the end, he jumps out of this tank, right? And they set it up to be an actual hand-to-hand boss fight. But Batman just fucking tackles the shit out of Deathstroke, and the fight ends just like that. Yeah, you know what? Fuck this fight. I'm not even gonna give it a proper analysis. This is a fucking shameful disappointment. Oh my god, dude, like, how can this even be considered as a fight? Now, I'm going off the Arkham Wiki's definition for what is and isn't a boss in this series, right? And I was fucking stunned to see Man-Bat as a boss, because no, this is not a boss fight. Tackling an enemy 60 feet above the ground and pulling him to the ground, that is not a fight. That is not an encounter, that is an exciting QTE, I guess? Something. It's definitely not a fucking boss fight. And I'm sorry, a good side mission does not substitute for a fight. Now, is his side mission good? Yeah, but we're not talking about fucking side missions, we're talking about boss fights, and this barely constitutes as one, if at all. So Rocksteady made a Batman game, right? And they took a look at his entire rogues gallery. We were like, alright, we have the Riddler, the Joker, the Penguin, the fucking Mr. Freeze. Who are we gonna do a boss on? Fucking Albert King, dude. Are you fucking serious? You have a rogues gallery this fucking huge, and you choose some random ass fucking guy for a boss? And what really offends me is in this game, there isn't many boss fights. This is one of like 4 or 5. And they chose some random fucking basketball player for the boss. Dude, fuck this guy. Like, I'm not even gonna give him an analysis. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Alright guys, I know I'm clowning on the boss fights in this game, but dude, I'm trying, but the boss fights in this game really aren't that good, and Two-Face is no exception, man. Like, this dude doesn't do anything. He comes into the arena, acts like a fucking badass, but all that happens is I took him out like a regular thug. He's literally a regular enemy. At least in the other games, they made him a bit tankier against, you know, compared to his allies. But I don't know, dude. At least the actual encounter is challenging and it requires a lot of versatility and you have to think outside the box to take out all these enemies. But the actual one-on-one fight against Two-Face is nothing to write home about. Ah, Black Mask. Now, I gotta admit, playing as Red Hood and beating the fuck out of Black Mask is so satisfying, dude. This is the novelty of the fight. But the actual fight itself isn't really too much to write home about. I mean, Black Mask is just a regular enemy type. He just shoots at you with guns, and you do have a really cool mechanic where you dodge his bullets and shoot him with your own as a counter. But judging this as a fight, it doesn't really live up to any sort of potential. I mean, Black Mass shouldn't really be a boss to begin with, but I guess the novelty of fighting him is pretty cool. This fight actually might be the worst in the game, to be honest. Now, obviously I've ranked it at 11, so that's not the case, because I'm trying to be as objective as I can be in these rankings. But if this was my fucking opinion, I think Nightwing is such a pathetic shell of the boss this should be. Now, I know this is a fucking £2.50 DLC that doesn't really have much depth. It's kind of just a fuck around, you know, you play as Harley Quinn, you do fun shit. But are you fucking serious, dude? Like, this is Nightwing. He's a fucking badass. We've played as him in this game. We know how strong he is. But they handicap him so fucking heavily in this fight. He literally has the depth of a regular stun baton enemy type. Like, he literally doesn't put up a fight at all. And it's a fucking shame, man, because this could have been a really fun and engaging fight that could have offered so much unique and cool mechanics. But this is Arkham Knight, and this game has shitty bosses, and the trend unfortunately continues here. Okay, so we're now leaving the realm of shitty fights and we're going into the okay, medium, average type of fights. And Firefly is a great way to kick things off, because this actually is a fun encounter, man. Now, Firefly flies throughout the streets of Gotham City, that's actually really hard to say, and you have to hunt him down, and you have to chase him down until his fuel tank runs out of fuel. And you have to dodge a bunch of his AoE attacks and a bunch of his projectiles to then swoop in for the kill. Now, unfortunately, this is a very fucking brief encounter, as you could see by my title screen. I did this in like a minute and a half, which, come on, man, are you fucking kidding me? But besides that, man, this is a Batmobile fight done right. It actually feels quite engaging, and it's quite unique, considering most of the encounters in this game are very samey, and this stands out. Okay, so the Arkham Knight helicopter, I might get some shit for this, but I actually think this fight is okay. It's not good, it's not amazing, but it's just okay, right? It's like a fun little Batmobile tutorial, because to be honest, the helicopter enemy type is way more funner to fight than the fucking tanks. Fighting a tank in this game is like shooting a snail with a hunting rifle. It's not fun, it's not engaging. All you're doing is dodging fucking laser beams, right? It's just not fun at all. But at least the helicopters have some engaging combat. You have to dodge some AoE attacks at least. Yeah, it's not perfect, and to be honest, it's not... Yeah, it's not perfect, and to be honest, it's not even that good, but it is quite entertaining, and I think this was the perfect enemy type to set up the Batmobile encounters in this game. Dude, fuck the Riddler in these games. Oh, dude. The fucking driving mini games in this game, dude. Holy shit. I haven't screamed louder in Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne, or fucking Sekiro combined compared to this shit. So after all the fucking deaths, and after all the end credit screens of this dude calling me a fake pseudo-intellectual, it was so gratifying to punch this fucking clown in his face and locking him away in that fucking cage. There was something so satisfying about that. And the fight itself is ass. The fight itself isn't really too much to write home about. But the novelty and the satisfaction of locking this fucking away is a moment I'm never ever gonna forget. And it honestly brings this fight way higher than it has any right to be. Okay, now I don't hate this fight. This fight is just really mediocre. Like, I don't really know what to say about it. This is just another fucking tank battle in a game full of too many tank battles. I guess if I could say anything, fighting Arkham Knight in a fucking city of fear gas is very cool on the atmospheric level. But judging this as a boss, it doesn't really have much going for it. Now, this has always been one of the more interesting boss fights in the series because this community really fucking doesn't know what to think about this. Some people love this fight, some people hate this fight, some people fucking don't even remember this fight like me because I had no idea it existed until I played this game. Essentially what this is you're running away from Jason Todd by driving in these tunnels as he drives behind you and then drives into explosives like 4 times because, you know, he's a fucking dumbass. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about this fight, but to give it credit, it's a cool encounter in a game that could have definitely benefited from more cool encounters. If this isn't a sign that the fights in this game are very shitty, then I don't know what is, because the Killer Croc fight is just a mediocre reskin of a fight that was honestly kinda crappy to begin with. Now, the only reason it deserves to be this high is because the lore behind this fight is very sad, very tragic, it's kinda grotesque. Essentially, Killer Croc was being experimented on and being tested for his regenerative abilities, and they essentially tortured and tortured and tortured him until he turned from looking like this to this. So if you ignore the lore, then this fight is honestly just a boring fucking beat 'em up with a crocodile enemy, but if you actually do some research into the lore, you pay attention during the mission, then it brings this fight a lot higher and it adds a lot more stakes to the battle. Now, if you want a fight that completely nails atmosphere, then look no further from Professor Pig, because this dude nails this with flying colors, dude. Now, what I love about Professor Pig is just how creepy he is as a character. The first time we meet him, he's singing opera music while performing fucking surgery on a random helpless, defenseless person. Straight after this, we intervene and we have to battle his victims, and his victims are just really creepy. Like, they don't actually go down like regular enemies. To take them out, you actually have to fucking knock them out. You can't just beat them up. After you beat up a few of his goons, I guess, Professor Pig will jump through a fucking window, and you have to throw his butcher knives back at him and then perform a takedown to knock him out permanently. I mean, I guess, yeah, the fight doesn't have too much depth and it doesn't really have too much going for it, but just the raw creepiness of the atmosphere and just the really fucking terrifying nature of the battle is what gives this its identity and what makes it stand out from a crowd of very shitty boss fights. Man, this is probably the most challenging boss in this entire game, and I'm not fucking kidding, this fight was hard, dude, it really was difficult. Essentially, the premise of the fight is Joker and Harley Quinn have captured Jim Gordon, and Batwoman and her trusty sidekick Robin have to save the day. But unfortunately, Joker and Harley Quinn are fucking very strong, and they beat the piss out of me like 3 times, dude. I died 3 fucking times in this fight. And why is this boss so difficult? Because you have very little health, you have to fight many goons besides Harley Quinn and the Joker, and Harley Quinn and the Joker are very tanky, like absurdly so. Harley Quinn is such a damage sponge, dude. But I have to admit, fighting Harley Quinn and the Joker at the same time, and it actually feels like a boss, not this QTE bullshit, I actually really enjoy it, man, and it's actually a very difficult and challenging encounter. Oh god, if this wasn't the most controversial moment in video game history, then I don't know what the fuck is, man, because holy shit, the Arkham Knight divided the gaming community quite literally in the middle. There's some people who really like this reveal, like me. There's some people who saw this a mile away. There's some people who predicted this fucking months before the game came out. Figure that shit out. So besides the controversy, how is the actual fight? Well, the fight isn't really much of a fight at all. What this is really is a stealth encounter where you have to dodge various drones and enemies so you can sneak up to Jason Todd and take him down. Now I will give it credit, each time you take him down the encounters become more and more interesting, more and more challenging, and it really tests every piece of knowledge and skill you have about this game in order to defeat him. But I will admit, they could have done a lot more with the ending of this fight. Jason Todd just storming off is just kind of abrupt and a little bit disappointing considering the entire fucking game was leading up to this moment. But as a boss and as a cinematic set piece, yeah, it's the best in the game without a doubt. And I will have to admit, it is very successful and I fucking love it. Okay, dude, it is criminal, and I mean fucking criminal, of Rocksteady to make this an exclusive piece of DLC. Like, flat out, this boss should have been in the story. It should not have been DLC. Because I can tell you for a fact that this is probably the best fight in this game. Maybe besides the Arkham Knight, but I'm ranking it as number one because this fight is so fucking perfect. It has great implementation of the Batmobile. It has fantastic set pieces. The actual atmosphere of the fight is off the fucking charts. It takes the City of Fear concept and turns it up to 11. Essentially, you'll be driving throughout the cities of Gotham and Scarecrow will fucking throw his needles at you. He'll have needle syringes coming from the ground. He'll have laser eyes blowing up the rubble next to the Batmobile. It is so exhilarating and I have no fucking idea why this wasn't in the story. And the actual boss fight itself, yeah, it's kind of simple. Essentially, you're just dodging Scarecrow's projectiles while fighting fucking tanks, of course. But the actual fight, dude, is so engaging. It feels like the Arkham Asylum fight, but with a more actiony spin on things. I really like it. And you know what, man, the biggest problem with this fight is that most of the player base can't experience it. This is exclusive to one platform, which means PC, Xbox, and probably Nintendo Switch can get fucked, because only PlayStation can play this. And it's fucking criminal, dude. I have no idea why this is the case. Maybe we should do a vote to Rocksteady so you guys can experience the fight, because, dude, this is the best fight in Arkham Knight, and it's not even fucking close. But anyway, guys, that's all we have time for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, do all the typical YouTubery stuff I say at the end of all these videos. This episode took a long time to make, man. It took a long time to edit, and especially took a long time to beat the bosses. So if you could subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. But anyway, guys, have an amazing day. Stay humble and keep conquering life's greatest challenges. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.